This week, assignment 2, writing assignment 2, is due at the end of the week. So I wanted to go over some of the requirements for that. As you see, assignment 2 is worth 10% of the grade, just as assignment 1 was. I do hope that you are reviewing the feedback on assignment 1 in order to work on any issues that you had there and make sure that they don't show up again in assignment 2. First of all, assignment 2 is a summary of the opinions of the authors that we've read. We've read 5 authors as we've been on our journey through this particular topic. We've read Owens and Saltiel. We've read Murray, Unger, Graff, and Rose. Now, this is really important, so pay attention to this. The writing assignment, your summary should be organized around topics and subtopics. In other words, you should not write a serial summary. In other words, you should not write, here is a summary of Murray's article, here is a summary of Unger's article, etc. Instead, you should focus on the ideas. So, what are some of the topics? For example, one of the topics or one of the questions is, does success require a college degree? Now, Owens and Saltiel answer the question by saying, yes, because on average, college graduates earn more in a lifetime than non-college graduates do, but that does not apply to individual cases. Murray says, no, success does not require a college degree, and he goes beyond what Owens and Saltiel say because he notes that in the example of the person who is considering whether to become a manager or an electrician, that the person would make a very mediocre manager but a very good electrician and therefore would make more money without the college degree. So those are 2 different opinions on that particular topic. Then you would move on to the next topic. For example, what is the role of the liberal arts in a college education? And here you could contrast Murray's point of view, where he says, for many students, liberal arts at a college level is just too difficult for them. They don't have the ability to do well in such a program. And you could contrast that with Unger's point of view. Unger says that the liberal arts teach the critical thinking skills that many employers want. And he says that employers do, in fact, encourage students to take the liberal arts. So the question of whether a good job and success depends upon a college degree, and whether or not a college degree should require liberal arts are 2 topics that you can explore by comparing and contrasting the opinions of the various authors. A third issue is college the best place to learn job skills? Is college the best place to learn job skills? Murray talks about this. He says most of what you need to know about a job has to be learned on the job. For Rose, it's also a central point. Rose says that his mother and his uncle both learned very high-level skills, even though they were doing blue-collar jobs. So that no, college would not be necessary to learn those types of skills according to Rose, or we could certainly argue that in support of an argument not to go to college. Graff also points out that non-academic subjects can be used to teach students academic skills, and he praises the street smarts that allow people to learn skills without attending an institution. So again, I don't want to see you lose points by simply summarizing one article and then summarizing the next article and then summarizing a third article. Organize the essay around topics on which opinions of the various authors either agree or disagree. All right? Now, please use third-person point of view in this writing assignment. That means the word I should not appear in your text outside of a quotation that you might be taking from a source. That's third-person point of view. For this particular essay, you should not be expressing your opinion at all. Okay, you did that in assignment 1, but this is a different assignment aimed at a different, teaching a different type of skill. And the skill here is synthesizing. That is, reading several articles and putting together the information in a way that highlights issues. And that is going to be a very, very important, perhaps the most important skill in writing a research paper. So we are moving on from personal opinion to a different level at this point. Next, make sure that you do properly acknowledge any quotations or paraphrases that you make. You don't have to do MLA style. We haven't gotten into that yet, but it is important that you properly paraphrase and quote, and we're going to talk more about that in just a minute. Finally, the length should be 2 pages, just as the first one was. Some people did lose points on the first assignment because of the fact that the essay was short. Really, again, 2 pages is the minimum that's needed to properly elaborate on this particular issue. So let's take a look at how to write a summary, how to properly paraphrase, and how to use quotations. First of all, how to paraphrase. Obviously, the first thing is to make sure that you understand the text. Read the text several times. You probably will need to. And second, when you're paraphrasing, look away from the text. Don't be staring directly at the text as you're paraphrasing it, because in a proper paraphrase, you have to use not only your own words, but your own sentence structure. If you're not looking directly at the text when you're formulating your paraphrase, you're much less likely to use the same sentence structure as the author used. If you use the same sentence structure with just a few words changed, that borders on plagiarism, and you don't want to do that. Next, make sure that you include a signal phrase or attribution for any paraphrases that you make. In other words, Rose says or Graf says. And generally, we use the present tense when attributing a paraphrase or quotation. After you complete the paraphrase, check it against the original text. Now you can go back and look at the original text to make sure that you have paraphrased accurately and fairly. And finally, of course, be sure to cite the source. Again, I'm not looking for MLA style, but simply an acknowledgement of who the author is. It's very important not to use a thesaurus when you paraphrase. Why? If you find yourself going to a thesaurus, then you're in that syndrome where you're simply replacing keywords with synonyms. And that can be plagiarism as well. You need to have your own sentence structure as well as your own vocabulary. Now, how should you quote? Okay, quotes, as you know, have to have the exact same words as the source. Do not change anything. You can consult the Little Seagull Handbook or the Purdue OWL website on how to formulate quotes and work them into your sentence. Okay, there are various ways to do that. Keep in mind that exact words must always be in quotation marks, and that quotation marks always come in pairs. Another fact about attributing quotes is the attribution itself should never be inside the quotation marks. So if you're saying Rose says or at the beginning or the end of your sentence, make sure that the quotation marks do not include that attribution. Incidentally, one of the few rules in English that has no exception is that periods and commas always go inside closing quotation marks. Always. There are no exceptions that I am aware of. Periods and commas always go inside closing quotation marks. The best practice is to cite the source within your sentence, which means simply for most information that you get from the internet, all you have to do is give that attribution. Owens and Saltill claim in their article that, and then give the quote, and you're done as far as identifying the source is concerned. It makes it very easy. So quotes generally should be short. There are ways you can occasionally use a longer quote, but it should be it should be relatively rare. If you have a quote that is over 4 lines, you do what is called block it, which means that you indent the quote. You still double space, but you do not use quotation marks in that block quote. So you indent 5 spaces from both the left and the right margin. When should you quote as opposed to paraphrase? Well, if you're summarizing, the majority of your summary should be paraphrase, so don't overuse quotation. You should use quotation certainly in these 3 areas. When you cannot adequately paraphrase, sometimes it is difficult to find another way of saying something. Sometimes the author's words are particularly effective and you just want to use those words because they say it so well. And thirdly, sometimes the author is a recognized authority and using a quotation just sort of adds some gravity to that particular quote. And that's it. So if you have any questions about assignment 2, again, please be sure to contact me. Thanks.